Hey, here we are at Reestablishment again. Bodie DeAndre, your host. On this episode, we got something really cool for you. Got Micah, and he was on with his wife on another podcast episode. You need to listen to that. But these folks are just incredible. And Mike and I have just kind of hit it off as two guys that just really struck up a good friendship. And we just kind of think alike. We like a lot of the same things. I want to talk to you today about your fitness, and are you being the best version of yourself? So, Micah, welcome back.
Happy to be here again.
So good to have you here. So I'll talk about my foray. So I'm in high school. I'm about 15 years old, in study hall, and I had done all my assignments. They had a magazine rack. And on the magazine rack was a copy of Weider's Muscle and Fitness magazine. So I pick it up, I look, this is back when Serge and Arnold and Franco, all those guys were in, and I read this, and for some reason, it just hit me. Now, I'd already done Pee Wee football, I had been in martial arts for about 3 years, so I'd already been athletics and stuff, but I saw this, and I'm like, I really want to do this. I was hooked. And I started working out in my house, got one of those 110-pound barbell sets at the house, started working out. What I didn't know is a year later, when I was 16, I had a bad motorcycle crash, and I was stunt riding and broke my arm in such a bad way that the doctor in surgery had to stand over top and pull as hard as he could to keep the bones aligned to be able to do what he had to do. And he said if I had not been working out for that prior year, I would have completely shattered my arm. And so by the muscles and the tendons being in good shape, even as a 15, 16-year-old person, that it made that much difference in my recovery. And so, from then I was hooked. And, all through college and everything. And so I've always wanted and have tried to do a life of fitness. Through both my careers in law enforcement and in the military, fitness could have been a matter of life and death. And I've always approached it at that in my careers, that it could be a difference of saving my life or somebody else's. So I approached it a little bit different. Tell us how you got into it.
Yeah, so I grew up an active child in a lot of sports, but I was just naturally an ectomorph, which means I was just skinny. Yeah. Like, no matter what I was eating,
Total opposite of me.
Yeah,
I was more mesomorph.
Yeah, and I mean, it was just, And through those years, I ended up, gaining some insecurities and stuff on my body. I was a pretty good little athlete, but I was a skinny little athlete, and I had an adult bully in my life that really just drove in this insecurity. So around the age of 18, I was like, I'm gonna transform my body, and it probably came from more of an angry place and a painful place to start with. But what a blessing it was to find the gym. It was my therapy. It helped with the anxiety I was dealing with, some of the depression, some of the insecurity. I was able to get my confidence back. So yeah, I wanted to build that body that I saw on covers of magazines, and I would become one of those guys. But it was so much more deeper rooted for me. It was about, really realigning my life and in some aspects saving my life.
Yeah. And so how long was this transformative period? 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah. So I was 138 pounds at age 18 at 6 foot tall. So, I mean, it's still going. I'm still transforming. It never ends until it's my last day on earth. But the biggest transformation was probably from right around 10 years total, where I had gone from where I was.
Did you hire a coach?
I didn't, but I was reading the Muscle and Fitness and all of that. I had people within the gym, and if you know gym culture and in the world of gym, you learn so much just from the guys that had been in the gym more and understanding. And so I kind of gravitated towards some more bodybuilders. That's the body that I kind of was aiming for.
I did in college. I had a guy who was a bodybuilder, and it was a funny story. He tried to go in the Marine Corps, and his body fat was so they wouldn't take him. They're like, you have to put on some weight. And then there was a guy, and I remember I went to college in the 80s. There was a guy who started in the 50s. He was what I considered an old man. And he had developed some of the moves that everybody else does now. So he would give me a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And it was kind of cool to have these mentors. I would work out for cardio with a guy who was a Golden Gloves boxer. And so that helped my fitness, my cardio level. So yeah, I think a lot of time when you get in that culture, you will gravitate towards different people that can do different things for you. Did you ever get any certificates or get any formal training at all for fitness?
Yeah, I mean, you get certified as a trainer, so you learn that. But I always tell people, like, I went and got a business marketing degree. I was a bachelor business marketing degree, but I got a PhD in transforming and bodybuilding. Like, I spent so much time. I was almost obsessed with it because I just felt so good. It was this therapy. It was
Kinda
a place
like a
that was
runner's
safe
high?
for me. Yes,
Yeah.
those endorphins constantly, but just how I was feeling about myself. You know, when you're that low and then you find something that is a positive that's really getting you to a better place, I wanted more of it. And then I trickled that over into then helping other people do the same thing. I was like, everybody needs to feel like this.
Yeah, let's talk about this. So once you became a muscle model, you're starting to hit your stride. You get that peak and all this chasing you're doing, and there was still part of that wasn't all fulfilling, was it?
Well, it wasn't. So I had created this outer shell that was amazing, but it was almost just like a protective layer of armor.
Yeah.
Inside, I was still, I still was like searching for something. I had all these acknowledgments, all these accolades of covers of magazines. I won a world championship title, and I was still empty in a sense. And I knew that I knew what it was. And I had turned my eyes and heart away from the Lord years before. And it was the realignment of getting that back on point to get through some deeper healing. And that's kind of where it was. And it was like that fitness and that faith for me was those go-tos with, my wife coming in the picture and being a big part of that. But I'll tell you that, that discipline, that carries over to every aspect of life that I learned with bodybuilding, then carried over to my relationships, to my businesses, to my faith. Like I can't express enough how important that is.
I don't want to say lucked out. God brought you and Diana together, right? That you could share the rest of your life's journey with somebody in the same industry, which is really cool. Those that may be watching or listening today, that they may be by themselves on this fitness journey. What is your advice to them? Because you almost pulled away from the fitness industry because you two started your own business and stuff. So you're not around all the guys in the gym like you used to be. You're more mentoring on a one-on-one. What do you say to the guy that's like, yeah, I don't feel complete. I'm chasing. I'm working out. I'm feeling pretty good. What do you say to them? Pop on certain music. Do they need to find another buddy in the gym to spot for them, or what would you recommend?
I think there's a couple different things. I'm a big pusher in creating short, long, and also unattainable goals, like unrealistic goals that seem like so out of whack, but it keeps you accountable,
right,
and it keeps you in a line. And then the other thing is just going back to creating a why that is larger than your quit. It has to be bigger than just what you're looking like. It has to be like, maybe that's, I need to be the best dad that I can be. I need to be the best leader within my business that I need to be. That why needs to be so large that you show up even on the days you don't feel like it.
Yeah, and that's, we were talking about this the other day, actually, that because I'm busy, you guys are busy. And it was one of those days, and I'm like, and I'm mentally exhausted at the end of the day, and I'm like, I really don't want to go to the gym. And you're like, no, that if you find time to pray, you find time to be a dad, find time to talk with your wife every day, you've got to find time for the gym to be that complete whole person. And we know that everybody struggles with that. We struggle with it, even though that's your main job is to stay fit and help others in that area. But it's sometimes it's a struggle to get in there. And part of that is that mindset. That this is part of life. I was thinking, on the parenting side, even Adam and Eve didn't do good with their first two kids. They killed each other.
Oh, man.
And Mary and
Brutal.
Joseph, they lost Jesus for a couple days. I've never lost my kids that long. So it's something that we have to stay on top of and we have to do. But it's more than that, is we want to live the best version of ourselves that we were created to be. I know a lot of times when I put the headphones on in the gym and I call it the hamster wheel, when I'm doing the elliptical or whatever, I'm listening to motivational stuff. I'm listening to people that I look up to for areas of my life because I want to be better, the better version of myself. And so I think it's important that it's not something we do short term. Now, you can't stay in a peak bodybuilding all the time. You have to cycle on and off of that. Just physically, your just body can't do it. But I think it's so important that we may be chasing a single part of our life, but God wants us to be holistic. He wants us to have all of that put together. What would you say to that man or woman today? It's like, I'm driving home, listening to the podcast, really don't want to go to the gym.
I would first just tell them to first start with their schedule and really start creating a schedule with what I call non-negotiables. Okay, that's the time with your kiddos, your family, the time with your faith, getting into prayer, and then the time for you. And that is when you're going in, you're healing yourself. And you use that gym. I don't care what you're doing for activity. Like you want to go run, you want to go strength train, get some components in. You're going to have one of the best highs in the world, but you're also going to be releasing that stress that we just have every day. So build those non-negotiables in your day, and that's your schedule, that's your structure. And just one day at a time, one step at a time, start eliminating some of the negative things in your life that are holding you back. Some of the foods, maybe some of the people you're hanging around, some of the things, places that you're going, and really just start, implementing positive things, and just become your best self.
If we just told people you can't do this, can't do that,
No.
that's what we would do is we want to say what you can do.
Yep.
It's about starting something right. It's not about quitting. Because if you do right things, the bad things will just kind of trail off. I know a couple weeks ago, you had texted me, and I'm like, my world was so crazy that week. I went like 4 days without getting in the gym, and I'm like, And the more you stay out, the more you feel bad. I'm like, if I can get to Saturday morning, I'm going to kick this thing. And as soon as I got in the gym, I felt better, and it was a total refresh. And all transparency, send him a text, a selfie. I'm in the gym.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm moving iron, and he sends me a pic on a infinity pool in Costa Rica. I'm like, yeah, I can't top that. But not only that, but our food choices, a lot of different choices that we have to make. And it's not about a one-time thing. It's about a lifestyle. And here on Reestablishment, what we want to do is we want to give you those foundations that will make you to be the best person that you can be. Here's the thing. If it was all about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, if it was all about, look, let's put it this way. If there are things about your life that need fixed, if you could have fixed them, you'd have already done it. So if you can't do it, and it's already proven that you couldn't do it within yourself, you need to get some help somewhere. Whether that is with your nutrition, whether it's within your physical side, your spiritual side, those are all part of your areas and you need some other people to be accountable to. I've always said, if there's something take a look at your life. And if there's something that's not doing well, why isn't it? And then you have to find out, like you said, your why. And then, okay, if it's something I'm weak at, 6 months later, if I'm still weak there, what have I done to change it? And those are those things that you want to take up, right?
Yeah, that's right. And guys struggle with asking for help.
Yeah.
Right?
We do.
We have Superman
Let's
syndrome.
Be real, we do.
And we also struggle with talking about anything that's, painful in our lives or whatnot. And I would just encourage men Christ himself opened up. Christ himself cried sometimes. You go get help if you need it, whether a pastor or a counselor, someone that you trust, a good friend, or a coach, a mentor of some sort that you can lean on, maybe in a facet of your life that is out of balance or out of whack. I don't know how to eat right. Find someone that knows how to eat right. And most of them are the guys that look like really good. Yeah. They understand nutrition. I want to do triathlons. Find somebody that's really good at triathlons. They'll be passionate about it and teach you how to do that. And, a business coach, whatever it may be, but I go right back to what you said. It's about trying to create that balance in your life. And there's some pillars that you need to stick with, and that goes back to your structure and your choices.
Yeah, and you can't do it on your own. Like I just said, if you could have, you'd have already changed it. And so, you need that extra help. And I'm gonna put in a plug for HitchFit, which is your business. I'm gonna put in a plug for SoulFit, which is your ministry aspect of what you do. And today, if you're listening to this, go to those, Google them, check it out. They're one of the folks, and I can say, my whole life, my whole adult life, working out in gyms, very few times if I ask somebody for help on something that I didn't get it. Usually people that work out are really good about helping or offering to help. A couple times, like there was a guy doing a roid rage. He was no help. Another guy that was too into trying to compete, and he was like, no, I got to get this through. 99% of the time, somebody's going to come over and help you out. The thing is, you got to make the change. You got to make the start. HitchFit, Micah Lacerte, Diana Shalou Lacerte, they are the real deal. Please go check them out. Check out the website. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for holding me accountable, right? We're going to see some changes there as well. And we appreciate you checking out our podcast. If you got questions, write to us and give us some feedback. Love to hear from you. And if you want to send us pictures, we'd love to see some before and afters and like to see your journey and what God's doing in your life as well. Thanks. We'll catch you on the next one.
Raise your hands up. Raise it up. Reestablishment. Leave not incomplete. Let's talk about it.
This episode of Reestablishment is brought to you by Man360.tv, a show for men about manly things. Check it out, Man360.tv.